Welcome back to Paint the Front Line. Today I'll be painting some deathguard. First I'll base it with deathguard green. I hear a lot of complaints of not enough color schemes for the guys, they're all the box art, and they all look the same, but for my deathguard I paint them up just a little differently, and I changed a few things, which you'll see later in the video. Once the model's primed in deathguard green, I take burnt umber from Apple Barrel, and I know it's a craft paint, but some of their paints are really good for what you're paying. Like, this was probably like $1, and you get a big pot, while, you got the Games Workshop, this is like $5. Some of their paints for Apple Barrel are really good, like burnt umber or some other paints I'll show you, and some of them, they're okay, but anyways, I'll take a little sponge, and I'll take some tweezers, and I'll just sponge burnt umber all over him. This is something I do differently from the Games Workshop because I think it gives like a good rusty effect. Because if you look at really, really old armor, the rust looks like it's almost brown. So I'll just do that to make it look more grimdark and maybe a little more Deathguardy and rusted. Once you're done, you should have something like this. It's all kind of sponged in random places, nothing too large. You can control how much you want, like if you want just a little bit of paint on the sponge and stuff, or you want like big splotches, like maybe he's a veteran, like a long time veteran. But right now looks a bit weird right now, but once you paint up everything else, like trim and guns and just stuff, it'll look better. And speaking of trim, next I'll be painting the trim with some Ashok Copper, which I think is a good color for their trim, so I'm going to paint that right now. So, what I usually do is I kind of work in sections. I don't, like, do this, that, and this. I'll finish off the legs, and then I'll do torso, and then if they have anything on their backpack, I will paint that. So, what I'm going to do right now is just paint that up. Making sure, try not to get it on the, thing I just worked on. Right now, it's okay if I get on the skull, because I usually paint them the shot copper, because I think it's a good color look. So as you can see, I got part of the leg done, and I'm work on the little kneecap, I guess. Kneecap protector. Which I feel like that looks nice. I've seen some where they just leave it, the Deathguard green, don't paint it. But I think it looks very good if you paint the little skull on their kneecap. Or anything else if they have like a symbol of Nurgle or something else. Okay, so that's one leg done, and you can see I got it on here, which is fine because it's a little trident, or little, I'm not really sure what that is, but it's like kind of a equivalent to like a little Space Marines bone jewelry, I guess. But they got that too. It's like a little symbol of a fly. And then right here he's got kind of a extension to his torso armor, which I'll paint just a little bit of it, as you can see. And then I'll work on the other leg, which, as you can see, their trim is beat up right about here. Doesn't complete all the way, but I'll do that now. What I do love about the Deathguard is they don't have a lot of trim. Like, I used to paint Black Legion or specifically Chaos Space Marines, but I painted them as a Black Legion. But, like, that amount of trim was just insane. Like, I remember when I first painted them, I sat there for like 2 days just trying to get all the trim done, but for Chaos, the Deathguard don't have too much trim, which I do love about that. there we go. Got all the trim of the Death Guard painted up, and as you can see, the trim is quite bright, so the brown kind of fades away, but you still can see it, like, just a bit, because the trim pulls a lot of the attention because it's so bright. Keeping in the metal category, I will next paint his metal bits, such as stuff on his backpack and his bolt rifle and just little things over here and there. And for that, I'll be painting it with lead belcher. Probably Games Workshop best metal paint, because it's so nice. It's like perfect. Once that's done, I'm gonna paint his bolt rifle. So for that, I'm gonna do some apple barrel black, which is a very good product. So instead of paying like $5 for a tiny pot of like Abaddon Black from Games Workshop, I think just pick up some of this. This was like 89 cents. It was like super good and super cheap. So I'm just gonna paint his kind of rest of his bolt rifle, which I will do. What I also do like is I just shake up the bottle and then I'll unscrew the lid, and I get, you know, some in the cap, which is kind of like a little pot equivalent. Once the black's done, I'm going to paint all his little bones here and there, or his bones and spines. So as you can see, I also painted the pouch. So I got to paint his horn and his skulls on his backpack, and just here and there he's got spikes everywhere because he's blessed by Nurgle. So I'm going to take Wraithbone, which is a good one, because it's a good bone color. It's also a good horn color, so I shall start painting that. Once it's all done, you should have it looking like this. You got all the spines and bones sticking out. Some of you might have noticed that this is not part of the actual model. I added that because that's something I do, that I make my Death Guard a bit more special. I will show you how to do that in the next video, probably in a couple weeks from now, but I'll tell you how to do that. So next, anyways, I'm going to paint fleshy bits with this Ragatarth flesh, I think it's pronounced. So stuff like the little shoulder pad face, the little tubes here, his little grenade. So paint that next. Once that's all done, it looks something like this. I also painted the maggots that's on him with it. So right now I'm going to paint little details, such as his little cape here with Tuscan red, and his little intestine that comes out of his arm here with pink parfait from Apple Barrel, but it's not really a good color, so if you're looking for a good pink, I'd check Games Workshop, because that pink, it's like 3 or 4 layers before it's actually really good. So yeah, and there we go. Details are done. As you can see, I painted the little splooge, I guess. I did that as blood, and finished up his little face on his shoulder pad, finished his little trophies with a Black Legion and a guardsman helmet, did a little grenade there, painted up his bubotic weapon. I just did things here and there, and I'm going to record this of painting the little pits in his armor. So if you look quite close, you can see little pits in his armor, which I think is pretty cool. And for that, I use Nutmeg Brown from Apple Barrel. It's another one. This one is very watery, but it's a very good rust color also. So I will show you what I mean by that. So as you can see, it looks almost like a coffee. So what I'll do is I'll just take a little bit, because a little bit is like super watery-ish type. And I'm just going over the model where I see little pits in his armor, and also near his little mutations, I guess, or his little presents from Nurgle. I do a little bit of rust, like it's cracked the armor, because it has. And yeah. I also paint some on his weapon, because, you know, a weapon rust is. So do that, and do a little on his barrel, just every metal bit mostly. But yeah, So that's most of it. Most of the little pits. It would appear he doesn't have too many. Oh, I forgot the weapon. But as you can see, it's very watery, so like if you put a little bit, it'll go little places. That's not where you want it, but I think it's honestly really good. And so yeah, that's a Death Guard model done and painted. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you want, you can do some things that I did in this video, and yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.